Okay. All right.
All right. So
I like that you're putting more effort into it. Thank you.
Yeah.
My favorite part is when we first started separating them, and Warwick separated it the first time, and he's like, "Oh fuck, I did it wrong." And then the second time he did it, it didn't shut off right away because he shut it off, and there was a few seconds of him going, "Good TV, son of oh fuck."
That was priceless.
I love your little quick little.
Yeah. Why didn't you work?
Why doesn't my life work?
It was awesome.
That was priceless.
I kept that in. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
That was phenomenal.
Good.
Anyway,
We are recording.
Yeah,
we're a minute in.
Right.
We haven't even
So
started.
finish
There we
this
go.
bottle, Mr. Lynch. What do we
Welcome
got going
everybody to another episode. This is the finishing the bottle episode
It is.
of Midnight Movie Distillery. I'm one of your hosts, Logan Lynch.
I'm another one of your hosts, Warpers.
on? And I'm Lon Black.
Was that timing good for
That
you
was
there?
good. That was a little fast. And I was expecting it to be slow, which threw me off
That's what she
yet
said.
I
again.
thought you were smelling smart, but that's
Let's
okay.
finish this bottle. So this one went into the finals.
Yeah.
This is in the finals.
Crown Royal didn't.
But I will say, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
You're
that.
okay with it? Oh, okay.
With that whiskey, I'm okay with.
So,
I'm not a big Canadian.
yeah,
Oh, what are you going for? What are you
I'm
tapping?
going B.
Damn right you are.
I'm very upset that I did not pick this.
Yeah, but you're picking it now.
Wait. That seems kind of weak.
Yeah, you got to get
Let's
it
do
close
it
to the
again.
mic. There you go. It's all right. It's all right. Nothing beats
There, I got
the,
this.
the
Why
first
did-
pop.
So the sweetness you're saying is because of the beer.
Yeah,
Okay,
because it's a
so it was-
stout beer, which is like chocolate milk.
With Nout taken out.
Did you say with milk taken out?
Nout
With
taken
Nout taken out.
Oh dear God, I don't know what.
What are you going for, Mr. Price?
I'm going for water for now.
Oh, Mr. Warwick getting a
say-
little wonky. He's getting a little cattywampus.
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 No, I'm trying to enjoy our.
Can he corner to
our finale.
Cattywampus?
So let me ask anybody else getting a little warm in here?
Yes.
All right, I'm thinking of turning the air back on because I got windows open, but you'd think it'd be cooler than it is.
It's a bit
Wait till I
a
I
bit
let one rip.
sweaty.
Folks.
Sweaty balls. Sweaty
So
balls.
based on what we've
folks.
had to do
What
up
have
to
we
this
had to
point,
do?
we've had to pick bourbons. We've had to pick.
What a life we have.
I know this is brutal, and we do this out of our own pockets.
Yes.
If anybody loves us and wants to help us out,
Tell us if we did a Patreon whether
should we start doing the "In the arms of the Poor Warwick here.
Yes.
We found him on the side of the road.
Yeah, you literally did. Like, we can do, or we can have like the Cars music playing in the background.
Ooh, there you
like,
go.
Who's gonna take
Yeah.
you home
Dun, 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 dun,
tonight?
dun. I think we're
Ding,
definitely
ding.
going off the rails on this one, but I'm having fun. But that's the point of this. So
Should
with the
cool off
finishing
here
the
in about
bottle,
2 hours.
we literally, the previous episodes, we discussed movies, we discussed the bourbons. We've narrowed it down. The one that moved on was the Beer Barrel Bourbon. That's hence why it's still there. And it's a little bit further up than the Crown Royal. My dumbass picked Crown Royal, did not realize that it was Crown Royal. I thought it was Beer Barrel Bourbon. I don't know how you mix
He
those up.
was wrong.
Mr. Price and I were dead on that,
Yeah.
just pointing that out.
Always.
Yes.
Not always.
I-
Very rarely.
Very rarely, but this time,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
damn right we were.
Spot-
We were on it.
Or as they say across the pond, spot on. Anyway.
There we go.
So this one we're just kind of discussing kind of what we've gone through up to this point, because now we're in the finals after this, right? We've got
Yeah.
Next episode's going to be the finals.
we've nailed down Aliens versus Reanimator,
Yeah.
which was a tough decision.
Aliens versus Reanimator. Oh, the last bracket.
Correct,
I thought
correct,
you were saying
correct.
the finals are all.
No. And we've also narrowed down The Thing versus The Shining to The Thing. So now we're in
Correct.
Aliens versus The Thing.
And bourbon-wise, Beer
And I made
Barrel,
this
did you mention
stunning announcement that apparently both movies deal with alien creatures.
And I said they also deal with horror.
that? The amount
Who
of
knew?
insight that these
Who
two
knew?
guys
And
have
hilarity ensued.
Yes,
is just astounding.
yes.
So,
I've already fallen asleep to this.
It's because you closed the damn windows. No.
Listen, I think that we've got, we had a challenge. The biggest challenge was the 80s movies. In my humble opinion, the golden age of horror. What started horror off at, yeah, there was the horror age when it first came out with the Universal Monsters, and then
Don't
they
they
started
consider
cranking
that
out
the golden
horror.
age?
What's that?
The Universal Monsters, don't they consider that the golden age of
Well,
horror?
Well, then what do you consider the golden age?
Yeah,
then?
is that so? Now, was that somebody in the '80s saying it was the golden age?
Yeah, I
Or
think
did
it's a point in time, right?
Yeah.
In other words, it's like I'm sure there's been
There may have been
several golden ages.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll buy that.
So would
But-
you consider the original stuff more of a bronze?
Mainly
in the
because of the
80s?
color.
I don't know.
'Cause it was
yeah,
black
because
and
it's
white?
getting older. I don't. But
I
Um,
think that 80s for our generation is the golden age
I
of
agree.
horror.
I agree.
Meaning the 90s tried to catch up to the 70s. By the 2000s, and even the 2010, everybody wanted to do the 80s look,
yeah,
right? Stranger Things came out and all that stuff. But it was more than that. It was like the slasher genre was immense. Everybody tried to do their own slasher with masks and the,
But
different
the other
tools.
thing I think what makes the 80s great was because and I know that some of this is still the case now, but the horror genre was generally
so mad I didn't.
not necessarily the well loved by studios, and therefore it's the cheaper movies, and therefore you got a lot more practical effects.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
And for many horror fans, practical effects will always turn out to be like better effects.
And I may disagree with you slightly on that.
Okay.
There were a lot of practical effects that came off really bad and rubbery and gimmicky.
Sure.
And that made them awesome.
Right.
They were so campy and they were so silly. And when things happen that you're like, oh my God, look at that dinosaur. It doesn't look anything like a dinosaur.
Right.
you
Right.
know?
And I guess
That was
yes.
fun.
I guess you're correct. I mean, in other words, it's like, I guess what I meant was not so much that they looked more accurate, but the very fact that they were practical effects just made the movie like better.
I agree.
There was a lot of
But there were
effort, I
some
think. I think what
masters.
you're saying is that there was a lot of effort that was put into it. It might not have been great. It might not have been spectacular, but the effort that you saw them put into it, you may have laughed, but you're also like, I wouldn't have fucking thought of that, right? Like, or I wouldn't have done that. Or
But also, I
wouldn't-
think some of it was like a lot of it was even when they knew it was bad. The payoff at the end was so over the top.
Yeah. There
The-
was still that wild ending. That
Right, like the
made
head
it fun.
exploding
Right,
and
right.
like stuff like that. I think as you got into the 90s and certainly into the 2000s where CGI started coming more and more popular, where they pulled away from practical effects in favor of CGI effects. I think one of the things that is great about the kind of the resurgence in the 2010s and certainly into the 2020s is the directors that realize that there's that sweet spot.
Yeah.
There's that sweet spot of we really want to do practical effects, but we want to do practical effects that look good. And so we can augment practical effects with some CGI here and there.
And that's the sweet spot. I think that worked because when you go full on CGI, it looked bad.
Right.
Yeah.
But you do a little mix in there. But at the same time, like that CGI blood splatter that was free, so everybody out there grabbed onto that little squib splatter. Then it was in every low-budget movie in the
Right.
world. You kind of like what's that scream? What
Wil-
do they call it?
Wilhelm.
The Wilhelm
Yeah.
scream. It's kind of like the Wilhelm scream, right? Where that blood splat was the same everywhere, and
Yeah.
it became redundant and
And
bad.
I mean, when you think about it too, that was a nice workaround because I think that, gosh, which one was it? It was one of Rob Zombie's. What was the Devil's Rejects?
yeah.
There was a lot of CGI blood in that, especially in the last scene when they're driving up and they're getting shot up. You could see that it was like, oh my God, that's CGI.
Yeah, and they
But-
dragged that scene out
Well,
to death.
and
but-
but I do know that like he was trying to avoid, a possible ratings issue. Was what I heard was that he was trying to avoid a ratings issue, whereas if that was actual blood splurting, they
It would have been hard to reshoot it.
correct. And on top of that, they would have probably given it maybe, oh well, that's NC-17 because that looks too realistic. So was that intentional that he left it that shitty? I don't know, but I just know watching the movie, I was like, oh man, because I really like The Devil's Rejects. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
movie,
Yep.
but that scene just kind of still sticks with me. I'm like, man, but then I did hear that he was trying to avoid any possible NC-17 rating, so he's okay. Yeah, but I wish he would have changed it a little bit, but I wonder if people nowadays, sometimes they go. I do see movies coming back to the practical effects.
Yes, totally.
And because these,
Because there's
these people have
advances in
mastered it.
technology
Yeah,
with
they've
that.
mastered
Right.
that, and there's still innovation that's coming out
Yeah,
of that, and I think
absolutely.
people are realizing that. And yeah, you're gonna have shit that you're like, oh god, I totally know how they did that. That's somebody with a syringe doing X, Y, and Z. But I think that's what you've got to learn, and you've got to make it look better. And I think that's what people started to do. And then I feel like in the early 2000s, it just became the easy way out was let's go CGI.
Right.
Yeah,
And
did
that
become
kind
an
of
easy
bugged
way
me, you know, because then it lost that realism,
out. Yeah,
obviously.
I agree. I
But
agree.
but it is funny because it's like in the same way as you know, whenever I do anyway. Like whenever I see a magician like perform some trick, you know, I think human nature is trying. You know, you're trying to work out how they did that. Like I do that all the time when you see, and again, especially in like 80s movies, where you see some special effect where you're trying to work out how exactly they were able to. You see the guy's head and you see the guy's body. How exactly were they able to like get that face hugger to come like out of his chest? You know, and then if you really look at it like several times, you realize that the angle of his head is like, you know, his neck is
Slight-
clearly
yeah.
a little bit down.
Yeah,
so
straighter,
clearly
yeah.
he's a little bit, he's under the table and but like to me, that's one of the things I enjoy about
I'm with you.
movies.
But see,
I'm
I
with
feel
you.
like, but when you first watched it, were you thinking of that, or did you look at it and go, "Oh my
No,
god"?
because when
but
I
this
first
is-
watched it, I was like 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but that's what I mean, though. Like,
Rewind it.
that's what I think
Yeah.
I like about a movie too, though, is you go back and watch it. And go, God, I wonder how they. And then you really pay attention. When you first see it, you're like, "Oh, that's fucking great!" And then you know, after second, third, fourth viewing, that's when you're kind of like, "Oh, I kind of see now." But it doesn't upset you because you already got that what they wanted out of it, which was that scare or that initial shock of, "Oh my God, did they actually do that? Or how the hell did they do that?" Like you said, magicians, right?
Trancers. I did a freeze frame trying to catch the one point where his head exploded, where they switched out
Yep.
the real guy for the dummy. For the longest time, man, that's all I did because you know you couldn't go frame by frame back
Yeah.
in that day, and you had to go
Unless you had Laserdisc.
try
right?
to catch it. Oh, I didn't have.
When even
laser.
Laserdisc, you could only do it on the CAV disc. You couldn't do it on CLV.
Well,
Okay.
I guess I know who had the laser disc in this
have.
group.
Had-
But I mean, I literally, that was my goal. I wanted to find out where they switched the bodies, and I couldn't find where they switched the bodies for that. You look at it now, and you're kind of like, you know, you seem like, you know, like, all right, the hand looks fake, and you know, but back then, man, I was like blown away but this head explosion. I had to see how they did it.
Did you
Yeah.
say, was it scanners? Is that
Scanners.
what
Did I
you
say
said?
trancers?
Yeah.
I meant
Yeah.
scanners.
I knew what you. I kind of figured, but I was
Yeah.
like, let's
Well,
correct it.
James Woods.
Oh,
Videodrome.
Videodrome.
Videodrome is
Yeah.
another classic
Yeah,
one
when he's got
of the same one.
Right,
But
right.
but it's like getting a little bit off topic there. But so the whole freeze frame thing in England. I think I told some of you guys this before, but like we had radio rentals, which was basically aging back from like the 30s and 40s when people couldn't afford to buy a radio. You would rent a radio.
Okay.
But
Sure.
but like how over here they have rent to own. It's basically the same thing, but it doesn't have vaguely the stigma of like
okay.
having a rent to own thing. It's
That's
like
what everybody did.
yeah, everyone that goes to radio rentals or Granada was the other one because it enabled you to get like basically every year you got like the latest TV. Like you just say, I want new TV. Anyway, Ferguson had a VHS tape recorder that had a digital playback, even though it was you just use regular VHS tapes on it.
Right.
But the main thing that it did was, sorry for this is getting very little bit nerdy here, but this is finishing the bottle, so we go off topic here.
We go off topic. It's
That's the
okay.
point.
Deal with it. Love it. Settle in. Enjoy it.
But so the main thing is, what got pushed out to the TV was the signal that the VHS tape had comprised. So what that enabled you to do is have perfect freeze frames
Oh.
okay.
because the
Where
analog
what you were getting at there.
the analog of the tape
Right.
isn't what was like just then directly pushed out. It went through a digital processor so that it knew what each frame was.
Wow. Okay.
And so you could suddenly start getting perfect freeze frames. So if you wanted to see that that naked shot of Jennifer Jason Leigh in
Right.
Flesh and Blood,
Oh.
you-
that was pretty easy. You didn't have to. There wasn't just like one frame of that.
Yes.
So.
but
Could
yeah.
extend that frame.
Yeah,
Yes.
you take that, you blow it up, you send it to your friends. Now, but
There was supposedly on the Laserdisc of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Jessica
the-
Rabbit.
the one frame?
She's anatomically correct. Is
Yes.
What I've heard.
Yep.
So I have not seen it myself.
I
Yeah.
didn't have that one. I did have lots of Laserdiscs, but
yeah, I've seen pictures of people or images other people have put up of that slide.
Yes.
Okay.
Could have been doctored. You never know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Anyway,
So,
finish
go
the
ahead.
bottle.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you had
That's
another
good.
point.
Yeah.
No, man, we're good. I think ultimately we do have one more round, of course, the finale, and then that's a good time to talk about what we think the 80s meant to us, but also what these bourbons mean, because this is a lower end bourbon, man. And we've had a lot of stinkers that have moved on.
What's the price difference on these? I think
Beer Barrel's 30, and that's 24.
Yes.
So it's not much.
No.
But
Yeah, I mean, that's $5, $6, so.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Please tune in
appreciate
to
you.
the next episode. It's the finals. Next week is the finals.
doodle-doo-doo.
We determine the best movie of the 80s and the best bourbon for 30
Or less.
Or less.
or less.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Join us again.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Be sure to follow us on social media.
How come you got more?
Because you're lame. You don't know what to say.
What are we supposed to do? Like, just like,
You like
Logan,
Logan.
time it
I could
all
have been like,
out?
tune into the next
You
one
keep
or something.
screwing it
Yeah,
up.
but
You're gonna knock
Okay,
it
this is
out
like take
airtime.
15. And like I only screwed up like 3 of them. You screwed up like
Look,
8.
we're just gonna keep this one, okay?
This is the one.
This is
All right.
it.
This
We're
one
done.
right here.
Finish
Okay.
it. Does it.
And